Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who all learned this truth from and who do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And I'm entitled this one, The Tiny Caps Are Being Exposed. And who are the tiny caps? Ultimately is a code word for the people that you can't speak about in the scriptures. The people who control the world. The people over there in the land of Israel that are proclaiming to be the true Israelites. But now the whole world is starting to find out that they're full of lies, full of deceptions, that they're really not the people who they say they are, because they don't fit prophecy. They don't fit the prophecies in the scriptures. They don't fit the curses. The land of Israel is full of wickedness. When the scripture says, when the nation of Israel gets set up in the land of Israel, and I'm gonna get that scripture proving that there will be no more wars. There will be no more wars. Wickedness would be pretty much extinguished from the planet Earth. And if somebody does commit wickedness, then they will be judged. They will be set as an example of what happens when you do wickedness up on the planet Earth. But this world, this current system, this kingdom is being completely ran in wickedness, is being ran contrary to the law, statutes, commandments. While these small hats, these tiny caps, are claiming that they're running the world based off the law, statutes, commandments, which is a lie. They're claiming that they're the true, the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah. But where's the other 12 tribes, or the other 10 tribes? They only claim Judah, Benjamin, Levi, but what about the other 10 tribes? What about the northern kingdom? And now the world is starting to find out who the problem of the earth is, which is these really the whole nation of Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, the self-proclaimed white people. But who's the chief tribe? The head tribe is the tribe of Amalek, which are disguising themselves as the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah. But now the world is starting to see their deceptions, their lies, and they're being called out. So it's to the point where the cat is out the bag, and what this devil is getting ready to do is just come down with that great wrath, like it says in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12, because he has a short time. The truth is out, and now people are starting to realize, okay, if those aren't the true Israelites, if those aren't the true J-word, then who are they? Which are ultimately the so-called Negroes. And going into the southern kingdom, the so-called Negroes, the Haitians, which are the tribe of Levi, the Jamaicans, which are the tribe of Benjamin. But then also the world is starting to see, okay, where are the other 10 tribes at? Which are the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. But Israel has been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So you are going to have Israelites coming looking like in all shapes, forms, colors, really like all the nations. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that said in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's the spirit of these Edomites, chiefly the tribe of Amalek, the tiny caps, the small hats that you can't speak of, because if you do, especially if you're a celebrity, if you're a politician, you're either going to get deleted, you're going to get put to death, or you're going to get canceled. And even the average person on the internet, whenever they speak about of the small hats and tiny caps, they get canceled as well. Their videos get clipped, they get deleted, their channels get shut down, because that's ultimately exposing who is controlling the world. which is the so-called tiny caps, the small hats, the Israelis that are hiding under the identity of the southern kingdom of Judah. But now they're being exposed. They're being called out by the entire planet Earth. That's how you know we're at the end. When the average person is calling out these small hats, then the cat is out the bag. The truth has gone out, and what this devil is going to get ready to do is just come down with that sword. And that's how childish this devil is. He's being called out, and he can't be held accountable. So he's just gonna, don't tell me what I'm doing wrong, or I'm gonna put you to death. That's the spirit that this devil is coming in. Verse 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, then thou set thy nest among the stars. Thence will I bring thee down, said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And that happened right around the time of our elder Abba Bivens, when he came on the scene during the late 60s, during I think 1969, when he so-called went to the moon and he established his base and his flag, because the baby, the glory of these Amalekites, these tiny caps, is America. It was an experiment, but now that it's crumbling, it's falling down. Now these devils are being exposed, starting with our high priest, Elder Abba Bivens, to the elders of our apostles, and then our apostles, elders, bishops, to the younger brothers on down. Now they're being called out and exposed for all the wickedness that they've done. That they're not living and ruling the world based off the law, statute, commandments like they claim to do, claiming that, oh yeah, we keep the Torah. Well, when they really they keep the Talmud, which is completely contrary to the scriptures. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and in that man of sin be revealed the son of perdition. And that's going into no other than the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. And around this time, during the time of Yahushua, when he was on the scene, they were known as the Idumeans. Right around that time, that's when they hijacked, being the Jayish word, the southern kingdom of Judah, when they married ultimately, into the Hasmonean dynasty by marrying an Israelite woman. And that's when Herod and his family took over. And then right around that time, that's when we're the J word. But it's all lies. And what happened right around 70 AD, when Yahushua was prophesying unto the Jews, that they were going to be taken down. Either Esau, Edom, the Romans were going to come and come into Jerusalem and besiege it. And that's exactly what happened. And then that's when Jake started falling out of his heritage, when the southern kingdom fled to the wilderness, because ultimately Yahushua warned him. He prophesied, hey, the Romans are going to come down, and then they're just going to do a number on Jake. And that's exactly what happened. And those who took heed fled to the mountains, and those who refused to hearken unto the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, they got taken down. They got put to death. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, showing himself that he is the Most High. And that's how he deceived the entire planet Earth through Christianity, Roman Catholicism, to make the whole entire world to believe that they're the true chosen people of the Most High, that they're the Israelites. But now prophecy, real world event is proving that they're not, because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, he in the scriptures is not mentioned that the nation of Israel is going to be a state established by the Balfour Declaration in 1948. And really, these tiny caps, they're the most protected race of people up on the planet Earth. They're the nation, the race that you can't say a single word or you're going to be called anti-S. You can't tell them nothing. And ultimately, they rule the entire planet Earth. They're in control of BlackRock. They're in control of all these top 54 companies. They're in charge of the music industry. They're in charge of what goes into your food. They're in charge of what goes into your water, what is being sprayed in the air. And pretty much it's their fault of why this world is so jacked up. And I'm going to get it real quick. This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And that's what's happening. These damn small hats, these tiny caps, these Amalekites, these Edomites, these self-proclaimed white people. That's how you know that the wicked are in rule. Because when the righteous are in power, the earth is going to be in peace. There's not going to be any GMOs, McDonald's, Starbucks, democracy, the US dollar, TikTok, and BT, all the degenerate behavior that this society pushes that was ultimately established by the self-proclaimed white man Esau, Edom, starting with the chief tribe of Esau, which is the Amalek, the Amalekites. And the scriptures clearly state that Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to have enmity with Amalek for eternity. Like a lot of these Christians and these seminaries love to say, oh, Esau is done away with, vocab Malone. Okay, and if Amalek is done away with, that would mean the entire planet Earth would be in peace, that there would be no more wars, and that's not the case. I'm jump back to 2 Thessalonians chapter, I'm going to read verse 4 again. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, and that is worship, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing to himself that he is the Most High. And how did he do that? By painting over the images of the saints, of the Most High, of the only begotten Son, of the angels, painting them to be Edomites, so-called white people. The whole image of Caesar Borgia. And now the world is starting to find out, man, that they don't fit the scriptures. They don't fit prophecy. And ultimately, they don't. Because the scriptures clearly describe how the Israelites look, what condition they would be in, which is ultimately they would be in the lowest of the lowest, being called bywords and all these different proverbs, and being in subjection, being slavery. And these Edomites, starting with the chief tribe of Esau, Amalek, the tiny caps, they're not in slavery. They're not in subjection. They're shit. Israel, they're the top welfare state in the world. All these taxes being took away, they're being taken away, and these people's checks, where is it going to? It's going to those tiny caps, those small heads. But these people, they're not revolting, because even though they know now they're starting to know the truth, they're not calling them out. And even if they are, they're not really calling them out like that. This is verse 5. Remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things? Yeah, and Yahweh Shai knew, who Esau was, the Idumeans, the Romans, the Greeks. Verse 6, and now ye know what would hold it, that he might be revealed in his time. And now he's being exposed. He's being exposed as the devil, the problem of the entire earth. Because ultimately the reason why he's ruling, because he was given a temporary blessing by Yahweh Bashim Shai, by Isaac, during the time of Jacob and Esau. Isaac gave Jacob that eternal blessing, immortality, eternal rulership of the entire planet Earth, starting with Yahweh Shai and the elect, 144,000. And then he gave Esau that second place blessing, because ultimately he sold his birthright for a morsel of meat. And that's why they're trying so hard to get the birthright back, to offset prophecy, because they know how, how effed up they messed up. They messed up bad. Verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out the way. Verse 8, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And how is this devil being exposed? Ultimately, by the word of Yahweh Bashem El Shai being spoken by his servants, the prophets, by the elect, the remnant. Because even you have a lot of Israelites that know that they're Israelites, but they're not calling out Esau, Edom like that. They're not calling out the tiny caps and the Amalekites, because a lot of Israelites that know that the Israelites, these other camps, they sold out. They took the bag. And ultimately, who's the one that rules the bag, the cash, the currency? Is the tiny caps. But that's why now that he's being called out, he's just gonna have to come down with that great wrath. But once he does that, that standard's gonna be lifted for the elect. They're not gonna be able to touch the elect, because now everybody's calling this devil out, including the third witness, these whistleblowers, these Edomites, these preppers, Tucker Carlson. So this devil, he can't control the narrative no more. So he's gonna have to shut everything down. He's gonna have to shut the internet down, because he's being exposed. And he's only going to continue to be exposed more and more and more. This is Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2, proving that these devils aren't part, or they're not the true Israelites. This is Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. Mountains going into all these different governments, these different, nations of people. It says, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow unto it. And that's what's going to happen when a true nation of Israel, the Israelites, get established upon the planet Earth. When the kingdom of heaven gets established upon the planet Earth, all these nations, they're going to be like, oh shit, those are the true Israelites. They're full of the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. So they're going to be seeking that wisdom. They're going to want to learn the ways of Yasharallah, of Israel, all these different heathen nations. Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem El Shai, to the house of the power of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem El Shai, from Jerusalem. And people aren't doing that. They're not going up to the tiny cabs and the small hats, talking about, oh, let's go learn the ways of the Talmud, and let's go, do all the abomination that these small hats are doing behind closed doors. Nobody's saying that. That's how you know these damn tiny cabs, these Edomites, these Amalekites, are not the true chosen people. Verse 4, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Yeah, and that's not happening right now. Soon as the nation of the state of Israel got established in 1948, there was a war. They got bombed. And ever since, there was, all these different wars, Vietnam War, the Iraq War. Now we're in the beginning stages of World War III, which is going to go nuclear, which is going to lead to downfall, the destruction of America, Babylon the Great, the baby of these tiny caps. And then also the land of Israel has to get cleaned up as well, because that land is polluted as all hell. Look at Tel Aviv, the capital of Mos, of alphabet people. That it all has to get cleaned up. And that's how you know that the true chosen people aren't in the land, because Nobody's at peace. Everybody's divided amongst themselves. You know, where's Yahweh Shai? You know, where's King David? Where's the northern kingdom? You know, where's the law, statutes, commandments written in their inward parts? Where's the immortality? And that's why they're trying to get it on the left-hand side, but they're not going to be able to, because that's only reserved for the true chosen people of Yahweh Bashim Shai, the Israelites, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the Israelite foreigners that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. They may look like the heathen nations, but their lineage goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who the birthright is reserved for. Immortality, eternal rulership on the planet Earth, the kingdom of heaven, the law, statutes, commandments written in their inward parts. That's who is reserved for, not for no tiny calves, imposters, you know. But that's pretty much the point. I pray this was edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from whom do well. Peace and salutation.